Welcome to another video in the series Inventory Management. In this video, we will look at the most important types of inventory. Now, inventory can be divided into various categories. This categorization helps managers to view inventories as something they can control and regulate based on the category. Now, in general, the categories can be cyclestock, and we'll take each of these in detail one by one. Second, safetystock. Third, pipelinestock. Fourth, anticipation inventory. And fifth, deadstock. Now let's take each of these in detail one by one. Alright, so I have listed all these types of inventories on the left hand side. So as we go on in details in each of these, you can still go back and look at all these five at the same time. So the first one that we'll take a look at is the cycle stock. Now let's take the example of a shoe retailer. Now cycle stock is the on-hand inventory which includes the items on the shelves and in the storeroom or stocking area. Now it is called cycle stock because the lots are produced or purchased in cyclical lots. Now let's try to understand this a little more detail. So because of the economies of scale involved in production and transportation, right? I mean, if you transport or produce in bulk, you can reduce the per item cost instead of producing one item quantity at a time. So it is preferred to produce and transport goods in batches. Now this inventory is called cycle stock since the lots are produced or purchased in cyclical lots. Now, companies generally try to reduce the inventory that they carry. However, they have a choice of either ordering frequently or incurring large ordering cost, or ordering less frequently and incurring significant inventory cost. Now, this process of determining the frequency to order and in what quantity to order. So frequency and quantity. This process of determining the frequency and quantity to order is called lot sizing. Now there are different analytical models that can be used to determine the optimal cycle stock. Economic order quantity, EOQ. Is one of them, which we will discuss in detail in subsequent videos. Now let's look at the second type of inventory, which is the safety stock. Now companies hold safety stock in order to avoid customer service problems and the hidden costs of unavailable components. Safety stock inventory protects against uncertainties in demand uncertainties in demand, lead time. Let's say the supplier said they will deliver in 5 days, but they deliver in 10 days, 12 days. Your manufacturing unit suffers a breakdown. So instead of manufacturing lead time being 5 days, it is now 12 days, etc. And supply, right? The supplier part that we discussed. Now the third type of inventory that we'll discuss is the pipeline stock or pipeline inventory. Now inventory moving from point to point in the materials flow system is called the pipeline inventory. For example, the material may move from your supplier to your plant, now within the plant it may move from operation 1 to operation 2. Then from this plant this may move to distribution center, and from distribution center to the retailer. So this inventory is also known as in transit inventory or stock. Now the pipeline inventory of an item between two adjacent locations is the product of the transportation time and the usage rate of the item. So pipeline inventory is equal to the usage rate of item denoted as D multiplied by transportation lead time denoted as L. So this is equal to DL. So for example, let's say the demand of an item is 4 units per day and the lead time to supply is 2 days. So the item here is being shipped from the supplier to the plant and it takes 2 days here, and the item which is being shipped has a demand of 4 units per day. So basically what this means is that each day there is demand of 4 units. So in 2 days the demand is 8 units. So D into L, this becomes 8, and that is my pipeline inventory or in transit inventory. We will look at more examples of this concept later on. Now the fourth type of inventory that we look at is the anticipation inventory. Now anticipation inventory consists of stock accumulated in advance of expected peak in the sales, or that which takes care of a specific event. So the name itself says anticipation. So you anticipate that there is going to be a spike in demand at some point in time, and so you start accumulating inventory for that event. For example, manufacturers of air conditioners or refrigerators experience high demand, or maybe the highest demand during the summer season, which may be only for 3 months in a year. Now if they have to spike the production during these 3 months only, then this may lead to higher rate of temporary labor. So the manufacturers can stock the anticipation inventory during the period of low demand so that the output levels don't have to be increased much when the demand peaks. So let's look at a graph to understand this. So let's say this is the demand of the seasonal items like air conditioners of refrigerators. So demand is, let's say, stable, and then it suddenly spikes during the summer season. So what you do is you up the production level a little bit such that the inventory that you generate here can be used to meet the demand here. And in the period of spike also, you are able to continue the level of production and still be able to meet the demand. Now, anticipation inventory can also help when the supply rather than demand is uneven. So let's say a company may stock up a certain purchase item if its suppliers are threatened with a strike or have severe capacity limitations. The fifth type of inventory that we'll look at is the dead stock. Now this is the part of inventory that is unlikely to be of any further use in supply chain operations or markets. So as the name suggests, it is dead stock. So these includes items which have become obsolete because of changes in the customer design or taste or production processes. Now these should be disposed of on a periodic basis, even though this means incurring a loss. A simple example is the fashion goods business. In the developed countries. In this case, the firm identifies the slow moving items and offers huge discounts to dispose them off by end of the season. So the important thing in managing this dead stock is that the organizations should put a process in place where periodically non-moving items are analyzed and those that are unlikely to be used or demanded are classified as dead stock and disposed of. So these are the 5 basic types of inventory and what each of these means.